You're at the right place.
So 91% of people have said that they are beginners, which is great. You're going to learn a lot today.
So I'll end this poll right now and I'll launch another poll. Here are the results. The first one.
I think the one person who has said that they know a little bit about it is Sapna. So I think
no, I haven't. It's not me. That was a good one.
Second question is, have you completed the registration process using the link we had shared with you earlier? This is super important. Good to see that most people have in fact registered and made their accounts. Great. I'll end this poll right now and I'll hand it over to you, Samya.
Thanks, Yashasvi. Okay, I think we can get started. Good evening, everyone. Aspire for Her welcomes all of you to an IBM Digital Certification Workshop in Blockchain with leaders at IBM. Before starting off today's session, I'd like to give a brief introduction about myself. So good evening to everyone. My name is Samya Gaikwad. I'm a part of the core team at AFH and also co-lead the social media strategy. I'll be moderating today's webinar. Now, without further ado, I'd like to start us off this evening by welcoming all of you today. And I'd also like to welcome Ms. Madhura Dasgupta Sinha ma'am, who is the founder and CEO of Aspire for Her, an organization with a mission to change the diversity equation of our country. I would request Madhura ma'am to introduce the audience to AFH and share a little about the foundation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Samya. And warm welcome to all of you. It is such a pleasure to see people from across the country, from across colleges, be a part of these sessions. And a very warm welcome to Sapna. Sapna, this is the first time that you are on the AFH platform, and we hope that this will be the first of many such interactions we have with you. You know, blockchain is an area of interest for me. Primarily because, I got fascinated by the use cases of blockchain a few years back, and I started reading a little bit about it. So I am truly looking forward to the conversation today. And blockchain can actually completely revolutionize the ways in which we do various things, not just very conventional, traditional things, but I was reading somewhere about a group of milkmen who were using blockchain to ensure that their milk produce and their entire collection as well as the payment process had been revolutionized by blockchain, ensuring very, very little wastage, very, very fantastic efficient processes, and ensuring that the money reaches the right hands without getting lost somewhere in the middle. So this is just, my little sort of interlude with blockchain, but really looking forward to today to understand much more. Aspire for Her takes learning very importantly. Aspire for Her is a young startup which looks at motivating women to enter and stay in the workforce. The reason being that if you see the number of women in the workforce in India, this percentage has been steadily declining for the last 15 years. In the terms of global gender gap index, where we look at the gap between men and women, India is absolutely at the bottom of the pile. And as a proud Indian, I did not want to see our country right at the bottom. That's the reason why we launched Aspire for Her. I am very lucky that I have people like Ruchita, like Yashasvi, Sneha, Samya, and so many of you here who are part of our community, who work very hard to ensure that our community actually gets all that it needs to change mindsets, its own mindsets, as well as mindsets of people around them. We have a lot of mentors and role models, more than 100, in fact, women who are CEOs, CXOs, women leaders from various walks of life. We have a lot of learning opportunities like this. And our partnership with IBM, I think, has been absolutely wonderful. The best part is that we can actually hear it right from the folks, who are doing the work day in and day out. It's a very rare opportunity to have people like that come in and talk to us. So we're delighted with those kind of learning opportunities. We also work with career previews. We work with peer communities, and we have several communities which we work with. And finally, we want to ensure that every woman in our community gets through one of the 3 E's, which is employment, entrepreneurship, or education. So we don't want anyone to be left behind. We want every woman to be financially independent. We want every woman to have her own identity, to have her own career. What we tell women across our community, and we have women across 60 different countries, is never, ever give up. So this holds for the women today on the call. It holds for the men on the call also, because we are quite sure, Shailesh, Vipul, Aman, Anant, all of you will ensure that the women in your life, whether it's your friend or your mother or your sister, will also unleash the true potential that India provides for careers, and they will all be financially independent. So I would really like to leave you with that thought. Please do not ever give up. Please ensure that financial independence is always top of your minds when you're thinking careers. So happy to touch so many colleges across the country today. And once again, warm welcome to Sapna. Back to you, Samya.
Thank you so much, Madhura ma'am. Before I move on to introduce the speakers, I would request Yashasvi to talk a little about the IBM Skills Build initiative and give us some insights about the course.
Thank you, Samya. I'll just take 2 minutes because I know everyone wants to hear to Sapna ma'am and to start learning about blockchain. So with the IBM Skills Build, what we're trying to do is, first of all, what is IBM Skills Build? Skills Build is a platform that IBM has developed, especially to impart quality knowledge and to help people upskill. All the courses that they host on the platform are absolutely free of cost and have been curated by professionals at IBM. And in fact, these are the courses that people at IBM also use to upskill themselves. So this is like, golden opportunity for you to be able to learn from courses that are curated by the leading industry professionals and courses that they themselves learn from. What we're going to do today is we've shared the registration links. You can make your accounts in this using this particular link. Sapna ma'am will obviously be talking about blockchain, and then we will be showing you how you can register yourself and how you can enroll in the course, how you can go through the learning modules and the quizzes that are there. You need to be able to complete the quizzes and assessments that are a part of the entire course to be able to get your certificate. So what happens is, once you pass the assessments, you will be issued a IBM digital certificate and a digital badge, which you can add to your resume and which you can display on your LinkedIn profile. What this helps you with is it helps you stand out, and it helps you stand out among the pool of applicants whenever you're applying for a job or for an internship. So please do make sure that you stay till the end, that you register for the course, and that you actually complete the course, complete the assessments, take the quizzes, and finally, accept your badge, post it on social media, add it to your LinkedIn profile, add it to your resume so that you can get the most out of this particular session. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll hand it back to you, Samya.
Thank you, Yashasvi. So now moving on, I'll be introducing everyone to our speakers for today. Our first speaker for today is Soumya Prasada. Soumya Prasada is a Senior Technical Manager with AP Elite Cloud Pak for Automation, India Software Labs, based out of Bangalore, with over 20 years of industry experience across manufacturing, retail, telecom, consultancy, and healthcare. Her journey in IBM spans 9.5 years, during which she has managed various portfolios, including direct client and partner-facing roles. In her current role, she is responsible for building solutions to help customers in their digital transformation journey through the IBM automation platform and infusing AI. She is also a mentor at Aspire for Her. The next distinguished speaker we have today is Sapna Surendran. Sapna Surendran is a software developer and has been in the IT industry for the past 4 years. After graduating in 2016 with a bachelor's degree in electronics and communications engineering, she worked with TCS for 3 years and gained experience in developing blockchain applications using platforms such as Ethereum, Corda, and Hyperledger Fabric. Being a blockchain enthusiast, Sapna joined the IBM blockchain team in 2020 and now is an active contributor in the Fabric community. She is a constant learner and believes acquiring new skills will unveil new opportunities and help find innovative solutions to problems. A warm welcome to the speakers. Now, without further ado, let's hear our distinguished guest thoughts on how blockchain is changing today's tech landscape, what future prospects it holds, and how the blockchain course on IBM Skills Build can help students in their career paths. In the meantime, please feel free to put all of your questions in the chat box. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Aspire for Her and IBM for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And it's my pleasure to share the knowledge I've gained, especially with college students. So let's begin. Let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible? Okay. So today I will be talking about some of the basic concepts of blockchain. We'll go through, first we'll start with knowing about one of the leading application IBM has developed using the blockchain technology called IBM Footrest. Then I'll talk about what a business network looks like, what are the basic entities of a business network, and what are the problems the current business network faces, and how blockchain helps mitigating such issues. And we'll also look at how the blockchain came into existence and how the technology like cryptography plays a vital role in blockchain. And also we'll go through some of the key concepts in the blockchain, and we'll also have a look at some of the types of blockchain available today. And by now, I think we'll be able to understand some of the benefits we can make out of blockchain, and also how important blockchain, how vital blockchain plays a role in business. And also I'll give a quick overview of one of the blockchain platform we use in IBM called Fabric. So let's begin. All right. So before I describe about IBM Footrest, I think it will be nice to hear it from our industry leader. So let me play a quick interesting video for you guys. Can you confirm if the audio is available?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
We have a very complex supply chain. One of my biggest fears is that I have all of the information I need to prevent an outbreak and I can't see it because of all the noise, because everything is on paper and I can't connect the dots.
What we as an industry need to do is provide that end-to-end visibility so that as issues arise, we can depend on each other to deliver information quickly that we can then act on.
If you're trying to chase trends, if you're trying to keep up with scarcity, if you're trying to respond to an abundance, taking any time at all to respond means you're already several steps behind. IBM Food Trust is a blockchain system that consists of digitizing information about our food supply chain in a way that's indelible, in a way that is searchable, so that we can have instant access to records that we can have faith in.
I believe that the benefits for food safety are just the tip of the iceberg. 1/3 of all food that gets produced is wasted. IBM Food Trust could allow you to optimize supply chain efficiencies, take out days of shelf life, reducing food waste both in store and at home.
You're stitching together a transaction flow that by itself is important, but then you add all of these other data from IoT devices and stitch it into the same record. Now you have higher quality, higher visibility to your supply chain and digital records confirming that that should be trusted.
Providing safe and affordable food is not only a daunting challenge, but for us, it's an important responsibility. We can trace origin of food products back to source in 2.2 seconds. That's food traceability at the speed of thought.
We're expecting improved transparency, improved trust, and improved speed. All those are possible with IBM Food Trust and with blockchain, and I hope for more adoption across the food ecosystem.
All right, so I hope you all got an idea about what IBM Footrest is. So IBM Footrest was one of the first food safety application developed using a blockchain technology. So if you see the current supply chain, there are a lot of problems the current supply chain faces. For example, it's difficult to isolate a product and get an information about a product. Because it is spread across multiple supply chains, and also if you find a product, a defective product in the supply chain, detecting that product and removing that product is a manual process, and it takes a lot of time and challenges. Also, it's difficult to manage the different set of data associated with a certain product in the current system. So to mitigate all these issues, IBM developed IBM Footrest using the blockchain technology. Using IBM, a customer who let's say who wants to buy let's say a tomato ketchup from a Walmart store can go to the store and just take this ketchup and just scan the QR code attached to the product. And this will give you the entire details attached to that product, right from what tomatoes were used in producing the ketchup, from what was the manufacturing plant involved in these tomato in this production, and how these tomatoes were shipped from one place to another, example like from the manufacturer to the distributor and back to the retailer. So so in a matter of seconds, the customer has the entire knowledge about the product in his hand. So this gives customers safety with the food they are buying. Also, if there is any outbreak in any of the manufacturing plant, the retailers like Walmart can look at the products which has a link to that particular manufacturing plant and remove them immediately from their stores. So this way, so how this is made possible? There comes blockchain. So this technology leverages the blockchain technology. The food information is securely being transferred across the network using the blockchain technology. So before I talk more about blockchain, it's also important to know how a business network works and what are the key entities involved in a business network. So a business network is a network of companies or people who come together and perform certain tasks in order to achieve a common goal. The participants of this network can be anybody willing to, anybody willing to trade an asset in the network. So the participants can be suppliers, customers, banks, partners, anybody. And they can be from different geographical locations within the regulated boundaries. So when there is a flow of goods and services across this business network, wealth is generated. So the exchange of goods and services happens at the market. So markets can be broadly divided into two, which is public and private markets. Public markets are those markets which are open to anyone. Anybody can come and participate in this market. Examples are fruit markets, etc. And whereas in private markets, it's important to know with whom you are having doing the business with. So most of the customers are known to the organizations. All right, so like I said, in business network, there is always a transfer of assets. So what is an asset? So asset can be anything that that can be owned or controlled, and at the end produce a value in the market. So the broadly classified assets are of two types. We have tangible assets and intangible assets. Tangible assets are those assets where which has some physical existence, like it can be seen or felt, like a car, a building, etc. Whereas intangible assets are those which doesn't have a physical existence, and examples can be a patent, a copyright for a product, the trademarks we use for organizations. All these can be intangible assets. Further dividing tangible assets, we have current assets and fixed assets. Current assets are like liquid assets which can be easily converted to cash, like some stock inventories you have, or the cash itself is a current asset. Whereas fixed assets are those which are there in the business for quite a long time, and it depreciates over the period of time. Buildings, machinery, all these can be examples of fixed assets. So now, talking about ledger, what is a ledger? The concept of ledger has been around over many years. I think since we knew counting, we had ledgers. So ledger is nothing but a business logs, the list of business inputs and outputs involved in a business. Earlier, it used to be in some leather-bound books. Now it has moved to databases. Wherever it is, the purpose remains the same. So example of a ledger can be, a personal ledger can be your bank account statement, where you have the list of all debits, all the credits happen to your bank account. It also gives you with whom the transaction has happened as well. All right, in a business world, what does transaction means? Transaction can be anything. It can be not just money, it can be an asset transfer from one participant to another. For example, if Matt gives Dave a car, that is one transaction happening in your specific business network. Also, in any business you take, there is a set of rules which any business have to follow. One can be like, one rule can be, if Dave pays Matt money, that car passes from Matt to Dave. These are some of the basic rules your business follows. So that is called conditions or contracts. All the transactions in a business network are underpinned by these contracts. So let's see how a typical business network looks. So we have multiple participants in a business network. We have the participant can vary based on your business. You can have banks, you can have auditors, regulators, insurers, many participants in your network. So one key point to note in this typical business network is that all the participants have their own version of data with them. Bank has their own they store their own data, whereas the auditor have another version of the data. So what are the problems which could arise from such a business network? First thing is that all the participants store their own version of data. So what if one of the participants missed to record one of the transactions in their ledger or in their database? So this can lead to a lot of disputes among the participants, and it takes a lot of legal processes, a lot of time in the business world to resolve these disputes and come and reconcile all these transactions. So this takes a lot of time, and of course it becomes costlier. So this out of sync copies of business ledgers is a great problem in today's business network. So let's see how blockchain comes to rescue here. So what is blockchain? So blockchain is a shared distributed ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in business network. So before I tell you about what this distributed ledger is, let's see what is the big difference between a distributed ledger and a centralized ledger. A centralized ledger can be, example, a bank. So a bank can have multiple clients associated with it, and each client depends upon bank or the bank servers where their data resides. So what if the bank server got compromised, or what if the bank server goes down? No clients get the data from the bank. So this is the biggest disadvantage of centralized ledgers. Now, blockchain being a distributed ledger, every participant in the network have a copy of the data along with them. The same data at any point of time, any node in the network stores same data with them. So all the participants in the network, even if one of the nodes go down, you don't lose the data because it is available with all the participants in the network. So, and also the participants in the blockchain network agree by consensus on how to update the ledger they have. So one key point to note down here is, with this architecture, there is no central authority or a third party required or involved to monitor the entire transactions. Also, once you write the data to the blockchain network or blockchain ledger, it can never be modified. You can add new transactions, but once you write the data to your blockchain network, it can never be modified. So this ensures the immutability of the blockchain platform. So why the name blockchain? So blockchain is actually a chain of transactions which are contained in each blocks, and each block is linked to a previous block using using the concept of cryptocurrency. Each block is chained to a previous block, hence the name blockchain. So to track to see how blockchain came into existence, it was first invented by an anonymous person or a group of people known by the name Satoshi Nakamoto in the year 2018. Blockchain technology was used as a transaction ledger for the cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. So I hope you all heard about the name Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the first use case for blockchain. It bypassed all the government controls and simplified online transactions happening, and there is no central authority to monitor these transactions. So one of the biggest misunderstanding earlier was that Bitcoin is blockchain. No, Bitcoin is an application which leverages the blockchain technology. You can think of blockchain as your operating system, and Bitcoin being one of the applications which runs on top of your operating system. So let's see how blockchain is made secure. Blockchain and cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency plays a major role, a crucial role in blockchain technology. It helps in securing all the transactions happening in the network. So if you see when a user makes a request or make a transaction, the transaction data is passed to a software called hash function, which generates a fixed length data for the particular message you have sent to the hash function. If there is any change made to the data, even a slightest change, the hash generated from the hash function changes. Also, it's important to note that this process is irreversible. If you provide a hash to a hash function, there is no way you can get the message back. All right, so also all the participants in the blockchain network have a pair of keys with them. We call them public key and private key. This act as identities for the participants in this network. So private key is like a secret key, like it's again, it's something, it should reside with you. It shouldn't be exposed to others. And this private key is used to encrypt the hash and produce a digital signature. So now when you send a transaction to the network, this digital signature will be attached along with the message you send in the network. So at the receiving end, or whoever receives the transaction, how do we know that the message was not being tampered, or we received the message from the authorized sender? How do we know? So that's why digital signature plays a key role. So at the receiving end, what we can do is, since the public key of all the participants is globally available with all the participants, the digital signature will be decrypted using this public key. This will generate the same hash we had in the initial step. Also, how do we verify that this has not been tampered? Now we know that since it's decrypted, it's from the sender. So how do we know it's not tampered? Now you already have the message with you. Now this message can be sent to the same hash function. Now you end up with the same hash. Now you compare both the hash, you can see that, okay, you have received the same hash when the hash which was being sent. So this way, we know that the data has not been tampered, and also the sender is an authorized sender in the blockchain network. So this ensures the integrity as well as authenticity in the blockchain network. Hence, cryptography plays a vital role in securing blockchain. So now let's see how a blockchain network looks like. So blockchain network is a peer-to-peer network. Peer is nothing but the computer system you connect with your network is your peer or a node. So peer-to-peer network, each member of the blockchain is equal. Everybody in the network has same data, and no node or peer in the network has any kind of supremacy over the other peer. And every node has an equal vote on deciding if an update to the data should be accepted or not. Also, so data is distributed among all the nodes in a very decentralized manner. So there is no single point of failure in such networks. All right, like I mentioned, in businesses, every business is governed by a set of rules specific to their business. So how it is done in blockchain, how blockchain ensures that these set of rules are met. So in blockchain, we write these set of rules as code and deploy it in the blockchain network. So since we have deployed in the blockchain network, the execution of these contracts of these rules happens automatically. You don't need a third person to monitor whether a transaction, a certain set of conditions has been met in a business. For example, if you have a product in your supply chain, let's say, and you want that product, if the product has reached an expiry, you want to change the product status as invalid. So you can write the essential code into the blockchain, and blockchain will take care of this. There is no need of third mediator, intermediator to initiate this process. So that's why we call the contract smart contract, since it's executed on its own. All right, so I have been talking about blockchain. So it's important to know what actually a block contains in a blockchain. So blockchain is a chain of blocks. So each block is the basic unit of information in blockchain. So if there are new transactions happening in blockchain network, a new block gets created. So primarily, a block contains various data. Three of them are transaction data, cryptographic hash, and timestamp. We'll look at how in detail what these are. So talking about transaction data in a blockchain network. So the transaction data is actually the actual information relevant to the blockchain or the business. It can be anything based on the business blockchain you use. For example, if you are in if you use financial blockchain, a transaction data can be something, okay, certain amount was added to a certain account. So this can be a valid transaction data. If you're in a supply chain blockchain, it can be like an item changed custody from a manufacturer to shipper. The product now belongs to the shipper. So all this can be valid transactions when it is a supply chain blockchain. Also in health, if you see health in health domain, an information about a visit made to a doctor or the relevant patient medical history, these can all be transactions happening in blockchain. So it shouldn't always be cryptocurrency or any money related. There can be different transaction data. So now, like I said, blockchain is a chain of blocks. So how do you actually chain these blocks? How do you relate one block to other? How do you chain it? So that's why we have cryptographic hashes in blockchain. So let's say we have 4 blocks and each block have information like transaction, timestamp, and also it has a vital data called previous block hash. So if you every block has a hash of its own data, also the hash of the previous block. So if you make any, let's say we made any change in the transaction in block 18, this will definitely, as I mentioned, if a data changes, the hash definitely changes. Now, if this hash changes, it's important, since this hash is actually included in the next hash, next block, it's important to make this hash change in the coming blocks. So this way, it is really hard to make changes in the transaction. Each time you have to create new hash and now change a next block. So when you change the cryptographic hash of block 19, the previous hash of the block 90, now this block's hash again changes. Now this way there is an avalanche effect going on, and it's really difficult to tamper transactions in a block. So this property ensures blockchain's immutability. So once the data is into the blockchain, it's really difficult to tamper it. Also, the block contains timestamps, which obviously serves 2 purposes. One is like it can it gives you an idea at what time the block was created, and also it helps in ordering of blocks in the manner it happened based on the time, at what time it happened. So we can have a chronological order of transactions in a blockchain. This will definitely help in tracking history of a certain asset in a blockchain network, and also helps in auditing of the blockchain. So let's see how a transaction gets into a blockchain. What is the exact life cycle of a transaction in a blockchain? So we have a user A requesting, let's say, a transaction. He wants to make a transaction in the blockchain network. Now, this transaction, along with certain other transactions which is happening at that time in this blockchain, is bundled up and like added to a block and represented as a block. And this block is being broadcasted to every other nodes in the network who are participants of this business network. Now, the network of nodes has to validate that this transaction is valid. And now, once it is validated, this new block gets added to all the network participants' ledgers. Now, once it is added to the network ledgers, the transaction is said to be complete in a blockchain network. All right, so it's important to know, like, since we have various participants participating in the blockchain network, how do all the peers in a network or nodes in a network come to an agreement that, okay, this is a valid block and this can be added to the network? So there comes a mechanism called consensus. By consensus, all the blocks, all the nodes come into an agreement that the blockchain has been valid. Otherwise, it is really important, because otherwise there will be different versions of data among different participants in the node. So consensus makes sure that at any point of time, all peers have same set of data. So there are multiple types of consensus we have seen with multiple blockchains. One consensus is proof of work. Proof of work was the consensus used by Bitcoin blockchain. The idea behind was, see, even though I said like the blockchain, each block is chained with previous block with a crypto hash. So if you have really powerful computers in generating the hash in a very quick manner, it is also possible that even though it's hard, you might be able to change the hash of all the blocks. But in order to prevent that, Bitcoin introduced proof of work, where they made it really difficult to add a block to the blockchain. So how they made it difficult is that all the validating nodes, called miners in the Bitcoin perspective, is required to solve a mathematical puzzle called proof of work. Proof of work, what they do is they ask the miners to generate a value such that the first 30 or 60 digits of that value should be 0, using the data you have in your blockchain and a random number. So all the miners have to find that random number, which you hash along with your data, produce certain number of produce such data with such and such leading zeros. So this calculating this random numbers is not an easy task. They use brute forcing, guessing to just calculate which nonce will generate a value with certain zeros in the beginning. So whoever solves this mathematical puzzle will be allowed to add a block, and it will be distributed to the rest of the network, and it will be added to their ledgers. So this way, Bitcoin made sure that every participant in the network is getting a chance to create new blocks, and there was a certain amount of work which has been put in order to add these transactions, which is again important. So this is about consensus. Proof of work there are various, as I mentioned, there are various consensus mechanisms. One of the drawbacks of proof of work was it required high CPU energy resources to solve this proof of work mathematical puzzles, and it actually was not energy efficient. It required a lot of electricity to be burned to create this to solve this puzzle. So there are various consensus mechanisms. It's not just proof of work. So now let me quickly take you through some of the types of blockchain available. Like, since you have you can pick the blockchain you want based on the business you're involved with. So we have public blockchains, like Bitcoin is an example of public blockchain. Like, anybody can join and do transactions in the Bitcoin blockchain network. So whoever has an internet can jump in and just do transactions in Bitcoins. So what are the advantages? Like, since there are many participating nodes, it becomes more secure and it's transparent, because all the data is available to every peer in the network since it's public. The main disadvantages of public networks, public blockchain is that the transaction speed is quite low, and since there are a lot of data to deal with, the scalability is also very less. And it uses heavy lifting consensus, like I mentioned, like proof of work to solve this, to reach a consensus in such public blockchain networks. Also, we have private blockchains where if you want your work to be done in a restricted environment, you can go with private blockchains. Private blockchains are usually controlled by a single authority. Fabric, Coda, these are some of the blockchain platforms which can be used as a private blockchain. Advantages are, of course, it becomes more faster since it's private and it's scalable to less data to deal with. But if you look at from the decentralization point of view, since it's owned by a single organization, you cannot say that it's completely decentralized. And also, if there are few nodes, if the nodes are compromised, the security is also an issue. Then we have hybrid blockchains where you want some features from public as well as some features from private. So this gives you a flexible control over what data to be kept public and what data to be kept private. But also gives good scalability, and it is a regulated blockchain. And but one disadvantage is like usually in public networks, we see certain rewards in Bitcoin. Whoever solves the puzzle are rewarded with Bitcoins. So there are these certain incentives are missing in hybrid blockchains. This could be one of the disadvantages. Also, we have consortium blockchain or federated blockchain. This is same as private blockchain, but not just owned by a single organization, multiple organizations own this. So this can be controlled by pre-selected nodes. The consortium has a validator who actually validate and receive and initiate transaction. This helps in having better control over the resources and better customizability. Also, it has a well-defined governance structure. So again, here, since it's pre-selected nodes, if the member's integrity has been compromised, the network can also be compromised in a way. So there are always trade-offs, and you can select what particular blockchain you want, which suits your business network. All right. So when it comes to business, there are certain requirements in a business world, because you cannot have a blockchain like Bitcoin to be used in a business network, because participants in the business agree on the assets they want to transact within the blockchain network. And also, it's very important for businesses to know that the identity, the user we are transacting with. So there are various requirements that's been met, like KYC, know your customer. Complete details of the customers have been received, verified, and then only they can participate in the blockchain network your business owns. Also, it's in a business network, it's not required or necessary for all the nodes in the network to sign or endorse a transaction and stating that it's valid. If you make a transaction, let's say from a bank A to bank B, the valid participants who have to sign this transaction as valid is
Sapna, you've gone on mute.
Oh, sorry.
It was just a few seconds. Don't worry.
All right. Okay. Fine. So where did you lose me? All right. So I was talking about how business blockchain looks like, how important it is to agree on what assets we are transacting in the business network, and also the identity, like a KYC, like know your customer, like exercise has been done for all the customers, and once the requirements has been met, only such participants are allowed to get onboarded to the blockchain network and start the business. Also, it'll talk about endorsements. It's not required for all the nodes in your blockchain networks to validate your certain transaction. Those concerned participants involved in that particular network is sufficient to endorse the transaction as valid. All right, so talking about business blockchains, one of the key important blockchain platform which has been widely used for businesses is Hyperledger Fabric. So what is Hyperledger? So Hyperledger was a Linux Foundation project founded by Linux in the year 2016, and it was mainly used for facilitating the cross-industry blockchain businesses. So Hyperledger is actually a greenhouse project which develops multiple blockchain technologies. It is free and open source, and IBM is one of the biggest contributors, premium members of Hyperledger. So one of the blockchain technology under the Hyperledger is Hyperledger Fabric. In the video, what you have seen in IBM Footrest make use of Hyperledger Fabric blockchain technology. So Hyperledger Fabric is a permissioned blockchain. Your identities will be verified before you get onboarded to the blockchain network. And it has a very modular architecture, every node in the network doesn't have to do all the tasks in a blockchain network like we have in Bitcoin. The tasks are efficiently divided among multiple entities in the blockchain network. And it uses plug and play consensus. Like there are multiple consensus blockchain Fabric supports. You can just use whatever it suits you. Also, Fabric introduced a concept like channels where you can control what information is being visible to who in the networks, which is really, really important because attribute-based access control is really important in Fabric. Because if, let's say, we have a blockchain network and we have multiple organizations in the same network, you don't want to sell a product, you don't want the other organization to know the price of the product you're selling with the other participants. So such visibility of data, controlling what others can see in the same network, all this can happen in blockchain using the Hyperledger Fabric. All right, so I think right now, I think you'll be able to figure out what actual benefits we are making use of blockchain technology. One is enhanced security. End-to-end encrypted transactions ensure that the data has not been tampered in a blockchain network using cryptography. Greater transparency. It's like if all the nodes in the network store the same version of data, so and it is available to everyone. So in a way, it is very transparent system. Also, it helps in instant traceability of an asset in a blockchain. Like I mentioned, in blockchain, it is an append-only database. Like you can add on transactions, but once the transaction has been made, it cannot be changed easily. So in that way, a history of an asset can be completely stored in a blockchain. At what point of time, what was the status of an asset can be easily stored in a system like blockchain. Blockchain also removed all the paperwork required and streamlined all the business processes, making it more efficient, and speed was a crucial factor in blockchain. Also, with smart contracts, with smart contracts executing on its own, it creates an automated system which mitigates the need for a third party to monitor and take control over the system. So these are the key features features of the blockchain technology. All right, so that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Sapna ma'am. This was so insightful. As someone who's a beginner in blockchain technology myself, I definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure all the participants can say the same as well. So if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat box, or you can even unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, one question was for blockchain, which coding skill is needed? Uh, it depends on the blockchain network, blockchain platform used. In Ethereum, I use a smart contract was written in Solidity. In Coda, we use Kotlin, Java as the coding languages. In Hyperledger Fabric, it gives you a flexibility of using multiple languages. Like if in Ethereum, Solidity is a domain-specific language used in Ethereum alone. So, but in Fabric, you can make use of Java, Node.js, Go. If you know all this, you can start developing Hyperledger Fabric.
Wow, that's really interesting. Another question I see is how is blockchain helping chemical industries, and is it the same as supply chain?
Like, yeah, blockchain, it plays its vital role in any of the business you take. It depends on what the business is. So in case of chemical engineering, it's again like in supply chain, you can track assets. Whatever data, certain important data about your products can be securely stored in blockchain and technology and cannot be tampered. And that itself gives if you're working as an organization, there will be multiple units under the same organization. And how do you ensure that the data is same and it's not tampered across the multiple subdomains of your industry or an organization? All this can be taken care by blockchain.
Okay, that's very interesting, ma'am. Thank you so much. Also, I think we're at the end of our time right now. So I'd like to request Atulya to share her screen and show the registration process.
Yeah, sure. Hello. So I'm going to be quickly sharing how to register for the IBM Skills Build. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So there'll be a common enrollment link that would have been sent out on the chat box. So once you click that, you'll be able to see this platform where if you're a new user, you'll have to click sign up as a student. And you can use any of these methods to sign up and create an account, but I'll be using my Google account. And since I'm already signed in, it just took me to my signed in account. So if you're a new user, you'll be asked to fill in details like your name, your location, etc. And then you'll be able to sign in. So once you sign in, you'll see this page, and you can go and see your courses here in recommendations. There's a place called course catalog where say we did blockchain today, so you could go to blockchain and you can start this course. So once you do this and you finish your course, you'll get a badge. You'll get a mail from IBM with a digital badge. So if you want to accept the badge, you have to click here, and it'll take you to a platform where you have to create a Credly account. So Credly is a platform where you can accept your digital badges. So you can just create your account. And since I already have an account, I'll just sign in. And here, as you can see, this is the course that I had done. So this is the badge that I have. And I can simply share it to LinkedIn or my CV and places like that. So that's about it. Are there any questions regarding this process? Okay, I think I don't think there are any questions. Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
think we're good.
yeah. Certification process. So once you complete the course, you will receive a badge and a certificate. So to access the badge, you will get a mail saying accept your badge in your registered email account. So once you click there, you'll be taken to a platform called Credly, where you can simply sign up on that platform and you'll be able to share your badge to LinkedIn.
You should receive the email within 24 to 48 hours of completing the course.
So that's
Okay.
about it about the signing up procedure.
Thank you so much, Atulya. Everyone can register using the link that's circulated in the chat box. With that, we've come to the end of the session. A big thank you to Sapna ma'am for being here with us and sharing such valuable insights. I would like to launch 2 last polls for your feedback. Please engage with them. I hope you can see the poll. So the question is, have you completed any courses from IBM in the past and got your badge? We have a lot of answers. Wow, majority of people have said that they will start learning from today. I see about 80% of people. That's great.
I think it was really a great experience, and I can see multiple questions in the chat. Maybe I'll try to answer them in my LinkedIn. You can connect me in my LinkedIn or drop a mail. I'll try to answer most of them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so yeah, I think most of the people have said that they will start learning from today, which is great. I'm just launching the last poll for today.
So as we launch the last poll, there is a relevance to the next session in the last poll. So please remember that we have another workshop just like this coming up on the 18th. And that is going to be more of an interactive session where we're going to help you take the course through in the courses session. So it's a 1.5-hour workshop and you will get to complete the entire course and get your badge in the course of the 1.5 hours. So make sure you remember that when you're answering the poll and make sure you come for the session too.
I've launched the second poll.
We'd perhaps like to talk about some of the job opportunities that have presented themselves for students who are graduating in 2022. So maybe Ruchita, when you sort of sign off, do talk about that as well. It's with one of the largest names in India, and if you're all set for an IT career, you can perhaps avail of some of those opportunities. We're seeing a fabulous response. So maybe some of you are looking for jobs, as you graduate next year, you can perhaps look at some of these opportunities. So I leave it to Ruchita and Sneha to talk about that.
So I think we can end this poll. We have about 95% of people who said they will attend the other session we have on 18th September. That's amazing.
So if some of you haven't registered for the session on the 18th, I will put the link in the chat box now and you can register for it. Also, I received 1 or 2 questions regarding the certification process and whether there are quizzes. So I'm just going to take those before we move on to the final thing. So yes, all the courses before you have to complete and get your certificate, it does have a very short quiz. So there are about 4 to 5 modules in each course, and the modules take maximum 15 minutes for completion each module, after which you get 3 questions or so as a quiz. And once you're done with all 4 modules, you have a final quiz, which takes about, it's scheduled for an hour, but it has about 10 to 15 questions depending on the course you choose. And it can be finished in less than 20 minutes. Once you're done submitting that quiz, within 24 to 48 hours, you will receive an email with the badge and how you can claim the badge. And as Atulya explained, you will have to click on the link over there make sure you click on the link and claim your badge, because still you click on the claim my badge button, it will not reflect on our end. So we will not know that you have got your badge. So please make sure you do that and then get onto the Credly platform, make your account on Credly, and also verify the account, because over the last 3 days, I've got close to 23 emails from all of you saying I'm not able to access my account. So when you get onto Credly and create your account, you will get a verification code or a verification link in your inbox. Make sure you click on that, verify your accounts, then you can access your badge after that. And if you have any more questions, we'll be happy to take it. Ruchita ma'am, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Sneha. A wonderful evening with our wonderful speaker, Sapna. That was actually a lot in detail and in a very easy way. And yes, we have some tips from Sneha, which are very important, because the last course I have done it and I took my certificate, but not the badge. So thanks. We all forget about these small things, but everything that you earn matters. And I would like to say here that IBM has come up with these fantastic courses. To get an IBM badge and certification in under 3 hours that you do it is amazing. And it's for a very short time period. So make full use of this and get as many badges. There is no age to learning. You can all do it. If I can do it, it's easy for you guys also. And our team at Aspire for Her also does a fantastic job of conducting these workshops where you can come and earn the badge if you don't want to spend too much time reading it yourself. We do help you do that. Besides that, we have a lot of opportunities coming up. And as Madhura ma'am just mentioned, we have a fantastic opportunity here with Wipro. And if you are an engineering student who's graduating in 2022, tomorrow is a webinar with Wipro leaders who will come and talk about these opportunities. We will be sending you the link to apply, followed after the session. So do make it a point to register at Aspire for Her so that you get all these mails and you do not miss any of these opportunities. There are a lot of things happening. Start upskilling yourself. We definitely see that all the jobs are towards the IT sector. There are new technologies coming in, and it's just not one that you should be learning. You should keep yourself updated with all of them. Because yes, it's a fact, we do see jobs also around the same space. Thank you so much, Sapna, and thank you so much to IBM for all these wonderful courses. My wonderful team at Aspire for Her, who's been working around this as a team for the last couple of weeks and making sure each of you are digitally certified. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruchita ma'am. I'd like to conclude this session by thanking our speakers, IBM, Madhura ma'am, Ruchita ma'am, and the AFH team for helping us organize such an amazing workshop. Thank you to the audience for joining us today. You were wonderful. We hope all of you complete the course on blockchain, which we've already shared the link in the chat box. Don't forget to share your badges on social media and tag Aspire for Her as well so we can celebrate your achievements. We look forward to seeing you at our next workshop on 18th September, which will cover the topic of big data and will also take you through the course live to help you earn your IBM badges. Thank you so much, everyone.
Did we mention about the lucky draw? Or did I miss it?
Oh, no, we didn't. We
didn't. So please mention that also.
Okay, yes. So since you've already sparked the excitement by saying the words lucky draw, we're going to finish it up. So since like ma'am was mentioning, it's a very limited period thing. We are going to be offering these courses to all of you only till about the 23rd of September this month. So all of you are requested to please make sure you register and get your badges by then. And as an extra incentive to make sure all of you do it, we are going to have weekly lucky draws where we're going to be picking 2 to 3 lucky learners from amongst you who complete the course and get your badge. So like I mentioned, for us to know you've got your badge, you need to claim your badge that it's reflected in our system. So make sure you do that and make sure you finish your courses by 19th of this month, because the next lucky draw is on the 28th, where we'll be announcing a few more lucky winners who will get awarded with Amazon gift vouchers. So if you don't want to lose out on this opportunity, make sure you register right away and start learning.
And please don't worry, because the way in which we are going to run the lucky draw is also very amazing. It's going to be right in front of your eyes. We are going to run this fantastic app and actually get the winner. So everything in front of your eyes, nothing behind. hope to see as many badges till then. All the best and happy learning.
All the best, everybody. Thank you so much. I will be ending.
Bye.